I found people that are my people. And it's like, ooh, this is really cool because I've never really jived with business people. Because I believe that if you are walking in your passion and your purpose and doing what you are meant to do, that everything else falls into place. Don't be afraid to sound like you and to do your thing your way. Because if I'm not able to sit here and talk like I am talking to you and be passionate about something, about helping somebody else, why would they be passionate about working with me?
Hello, Sarah Hankins.
Hello.
Thank you for hanging out with me on the Hanging Out podcast.
Woohoo.
I appreciate you jumping on here. We work together. We already kind of hang out, but honestly, it's mainly you trying to hit me up, and then I kind of ignore you because I'm like really busy and I feel bad about it. And so, no lie, I feel like we got to catch up on stuff, and this is the current mechanism. So,
It's all
what's
good,
been
dude.
what's been happening in your school world right now? Tell me about like what you're doing, and for those that don't know, you help out in the ads lab, and you're amazing at helping out in the ads lab. But you do many other things on school, and you have your own things. And so, where are you currently? What's your current lay of the land with your school groups and your school involvement?
Current lay of the land. So just like in real life, right? Like all the balls are juggling all the time. So
Yeah.
I put my homeopathy group on archive for now until
Mm-hmm.
I have the time to relaunch. I want to do it slightly differently. And so for now, it's archived.
Yeah.
And so my main gig is helping other people start their schools and grow their engagement and experience inside of their school communities. So it's been going good. I mean, it's slow, but I'm not one of those
Yeah.
people that is into let's fill up our space and make a shit ton of money and then watch it all pour out down the drain. I would much rather
Yeah.
take it slower. Plus, it works with my life, right? So, for anybody that doesn't know, I have 7 kiddos. My two of them are technically grown and flown, but my oldest moved back home with her partner about 6 months ago, and it's been fucking fabulous, wonderful.
That's awesome.
And we radically unschool. We've
How
got a homestead and do the garden thing and all that jazz. So me trying to like spend all my hours of all my days doing school is just not gonna work, right? And so
mm-hmm.
school fits in just fine. And the way we do our unschool, like with my kids, the homeschooling, unschooling, whatever, um, everything, it just we very much flow. And so like I'm checking in and out of school, and then I'm hanging out with kids or helping them with something, and they're like the way that we school, like regular school our kids, is to follow their passions and purpose, right? So I've got 2 teenagers that have their own business, and I'm going to be helping them get their like
Mm.
SKOOL situated and going
Yeah.
to add on to
Yeah.
their in-person stuff. And it's always you never really know what the day is going to bring.
Yeah, it's interesting about like the intersection of homeschooling and school with a K, school. I think about that too because we have a 2.5 year old, and my wife and I are pretty into the homeschooling camp in the way of like just letting her decide where we are and what she should be learning right now by just being inside of the world instead of inside of the school with the ch, and
Right.
like doing stuff. We live kind of out on the land, and it's I like this intersection of like there's something about school with a K that is like a way of thinking about learning and teaching that's kind of like homeschooling. It's kind of like the difference between traditional school and the untraditional
Right. So it's
method.
like I always, for the longest time, um, have thought like I just want my kids to be happy and healthy and do something that they love, right? I don't give a shit how much money they make. Like if as long as they can provide a little, for themselves a little house or like whatever floats their boat, right? If they want to be a nomad and go whatever, like I don't care, right? So then it does carry over into the Skool school too, because like
Mm-hmm.
my passion, right? Like what burns me up inside, like lights a fire in me like no other, is to like help other people follow their passion and purpose and their dreams and not give a flying fuck about what anybody or the world says or thinks. Right? Let's help
Mm.
you figure out how we can make this work and how you can step fully more into who you are. All of your bits and pieces, all of those bits and pieces that the world says are shit and you need to hide them away and all of this other stuff. Let's turn them into superpowers, right? And let's
Mm.
walk authentically and be who you came here to be, right? So like there are lots of like nuances like that that I've seen, like as I've raised, not they're not all raised yet, the youngest is 9 and I still have
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to 23, but I
Mm.
I'm just able, like it carries over, right? So that a lot of the same flavors that go into the parenting, and I always talk about often, like parenting and entrepreneurship are like the two things that like spur on inner growth like nothing else. Like
Mm.
nothing else. It's going to flesh out what you
Mm-hmm.
need to work on, right? And it's going to flesh out the things, and then if you're able to do that, then it pushes those growth edges, right? The things that then when you step into it, that's when the change happens, right? Because you can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results, right?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that what is that called? Psychosis? It's doing the same thing, expecting different results. Is
Yeah,
is
something
that
like that.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not
No,
what you want to do.
but that's what most people do, right? Oh, I've got this dream. Oh, I want to do this, but they keep doing the same things that they've always done, expecting something different. It's not how that works,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. How did you find Skool, and why do stuff here as opposed to what you were doing before?
So I had been out of like entrepreneurship for a little while. I've done different businesses, built, I had a baby carrier, custom baby carrier business made from woven wraps and embroidery, whatever, built that to 6 figures. But then something happened with one of my kiddos and I had to say, well, can't do that. Right. And then I thought,
Mm.
well, I'd like to do another business, but then I don't necessarily want to make the stuff. Like the baby carrier business, I had hired a seamstress and I had never gone to business school, didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, I just was like, oh, somebody needs that. Okay, well, we're just going to keep going. And it snowballed into this thing. Right. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had to stop that when a kiddo had a major issue that required a lot more of my time. And then the next time I decided, well, maybe I'd like to try a business again, but maybe I don't physically make the things, right? Because I had all the sewing machines and all the inventory and all the things in the basement. Like, I was like, that's not, maybe not so much of that, right? It's like, okay, well, maybe I
Mm.
can do the clothing thing. Like somebody else makes the clothes and then I, put the flat lays and put all the, because I really love art and like aesthetics and things like that. And I seem to be decent at it. So did that. Same thing, grew 6 figures. And then my husband was like, we're having some issues. We need to, reevaluate or whatever. Okay, that's fine. So stop that, right? And around that
Mm-hmm.
time, also, my oldest kiddo was having some troubles. So it's just the flavor of
Mm.
things, right? Sometimes. And so then I took
Yeah.
some years off. And then I went to work for an herbal company. I was doing shipping and things like that. Um, and they weren't paying me jack shit, which was fine. Like it was just basically like, let's get out of the house and do some things and, make a little bit of fun money, whatever. Great. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, okay, well, I can see where this needs help and this needs help
Mm.
and this needs help. And y'all aren't paying me enough and you don't really want my help anyway. It's your jam, right? And that's perfectly fine. Their business, they can run it however they want. So, and then we moved, right? So we had been living in suburbia, dreamed of, living in the middle of nowhere on purpose for years, and
Mm-hmm.
finally got that chance. So 3 years ago we moved, and so then it was like an hour plus to that herbal company. It's like, we can't do that. Not for
Mm.
basically minimum wage. Like, just it's not going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking about a year and a half ago about because I have a neurospicy brain and I love to dive deep into stuff. So it's like we dove deep into homesteading and preserving and sourdough and gardening and all this stuff, right? And so then it was also because I've got a kiddo or two with medical issues, like diving deep into herbs and alternative therapies and all of this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? And so then I had really dove deep and resonated with homeopathy. And I was like, I want to talk to more people about this. They're interested, but like it's so different than how you work with herbs or allopathic or any kind of other like modality that
Mm,
it's not overly complicated, but it's very different. So I was
mm,
seeing that people needed it interpreted. Like I watched your interview with Matthew Thompson, like that interpreter bit,
mm,
right? It's like I can,
mm,
because I've dove deep and I've got all this information in here, I can regurgitate it into simple and easy to understand manner so that people can actually do what they want to do with it, right? So then I was like, okay,
yeah.
I need to find a place to host this, right? So I started working on the racers last summer, and like last summer was the first time I had ever used Google Doc or Google Drive, like any of that. And then
Wow.
at the end of February, because I had gone on like a fun like a retreat, like a reclamation retreat for me, like the first big trip ever in my life, away from my kids, more money than I
Mm,
spent, like well worth it, right? Well, the woman that
mm-hmm.
did that or hosted, like ran it, she did a webinar or a call with somebody who was running for school games at the end in February. And so I was
Oh,
like, and they
okay.
were like health leading kind of coaching kind of stuff. I'm like, I can do that. Like that makes sense. And this platform looks
Yeah.
great because I'm like tech granny brain. Like once I get
Mm-hmm.
something, I'm good. But like sometimes, and so I was looking for something very simple that had a community space because those like the baby carrier business and the clothing business, like I always ran a Facebook community with it. Like there was always that
Yeah.
element, but I just that was before it got uber complicated and that was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? When you could still run ads over there and it was really, even better than it was now than
Mm-hmm.
it is now, right? And you kept
Yeah.
a business page and whatever and you got reach and whatnot.
The reach was really good back then.
Yeah. And so that was the beginning, right? So then I found Skool. Well, I didn't really resonate as much with that first group. Like I've got all the like jargon and the like holistic health stuff and all of that, but like I've got tattoos and I say fuck a lot and like it's just
Mm-hmm.
and when I jump in somewhere, I'm all in. Right. And that seemed to
Mm-hmm.
be a lot. Like there weren't a whole lot of other people jumping all in there, which is fine. Like their space, their rules, how they run it, that's awesome. They run an amazing space. It just wasn't a good fit for me, right? And I didn't even know
Mm-hmm.
the main school community existed until the end of April. And thank God that I
Mm,
found it though, because had I not, because I had canceled the membership, right? Had I not found the main school community, I wouldn't have found you. I wouldn't have found so many other wonderful human beings that are
mm-hmm.
willing. Like I'm not too much for them, right? I'm like,
Mm,
I can be me and I am welcomed with open arms, right? Like I found
yeah.
people that are my people and it's like, ooh, this is really cool because I've never really jived with like business people, right? Like I've never been to business school, like the jargon like you talked about when you did the interview with Matthew Thompson, like I, I didn't know what any of
Yeah.
these like acronyms and the jargon and all this stuff was. Like it's been a big learning curve, right, over the last 6 to 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here for it. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Good.
So I remember hanging out with you in the school community before we kind of were working together, and whenever this was probably like May, June, like Ryan Duncan was showing up a lot in the school community at the time, and I feel like school felt like a that era of school felt super different than today's era of school.
Yeah, slightly. You had a lot more.
It
It was
was like,
a lot goofier, a lot more of the
yeah,
elements fun in the main school community. Like you still have that in games, and you still have that in individual groups, like other people's groups and stuff. But like I think
yeah,
as school has grown, like they've had to like kind of tamp down a little
yeah.
bit on some of the extra fun or the goofy stuff a little.
And it feels like when people successfully, like the people that were hanging out and having fun inside a school community, inside of school games, like they would take that back to their group, and now they're just in their group, and so you kind of you like there's this natural like loss of fun people for the most part. It feels like where they're in there for a while they're building the cult, like, but if they get it right, they end up just being in their group after that, and then those people sometimes will hang out in school games. I'm like thinking of Goose, you know, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like
Well, I mean, he was
Dan.
building his space, and then he was also like helping with actual school games and like doing all of this
Yeah,
stuff and trying to juggle all
yeah,
these balls, right? So it'll
but
be
me too.
interesting.
I
He
mean,
might come back more once, because school games is changing,
yeah,
right? So
yeah. What do you think about the school games changing?
I'm fucking here for it. Because it
Mm-hmm.
jives much better with how I roll and how I teach people. And like, if people want nothing against people that want to make a shit ton of money in a very short amount of time, right? Like, I have nothing against anybody that does things differently than me, because everybody has their own flavor, everybody does things differently, and that's completely okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for the cultivating of community and experience, though, and for the long haul. Like, we're not just building short-term things, which is, I think, one of the reasons, the big reason why they're changing it, right, is because a lot of people would bring a whole bunch of people in, make a lot of money for that month, but then they would have trouble with fulfillment, they would have trouble with keeping their people, they would lose, a big huge chunk, if not half or most of all of that MRR.
MRR. Yeah.
See, MRR in that same month, like the following month, and it's like, what the hell are we even doing, right? Plus, I'm super stoked to see, because we don't have the official like layout of what it is going to be, right, or how it's going
Mm-hmm.
to work. Like, I've heard whispers that they're doing things to incorporate different niches, or niches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that it's not all just businesses
I've heard
teaching
that
people
too.
how to make money. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited about that part too.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be. It seems like a lot of features to add, and School doesn't often add a lot of features, like to add every category, leaderboard, functionality, a lot more data, a lot more people getting visibility. I feel like when School, like when if Sam's decided to do that, there must be a major drive to make a change from where we currently are in order for them to do that, because I think that like it's just a very large feature set. And so to me, I think it speaks to like how big of a change, how big of it like an importance there is on making the change from people running School. Like I think it's what everybody seems to want.
I mean, for right now, like
Yeah.
the bulk of people that you talk about School, oh, it's Hormozy's thing, right? Which he's much more like bro marketing kind of hustle culture. Like, again, he's an awesome dude. I love a lot of what he teaches and things like that, right? But like, then you go to talk to like esoteric people, or a lot of different other niches, and they're like, no, we don't want to listen. We don't want to come see School. Like, that's Hormozy's thing, and we don't jive with how he does things, right? And
Yeah.
so, and that was something that I had sent a message to the team. I was like, have we ever thought about like having other people run ads from different niches, so that it's not just Tormosi? Because I know, I've heard Sam
Mhm.
talk, right? He wants this to be this all encompassing thing. It's not just bro marketing, let's teach you how to make money. Like, he wants it to be like much more broad than that. Well, in order to bring those kind of people in, you have to switch up how you're, talking in ads
Mhm.
and, portraying it elsewhere, right? And that's all, like, they had to test it, right? They had to test to see how
Mhm.
far people could go in a month and all of this other stuff, right? So now we're going to tweak it again, and we're going to test this way and see how it goes, because it's still a very semi new platform, right?
Mhm.
So I'm super stoked to see how this next year goes, for sure.
Yeah. What's your like what's your day-to-day activity look like on School right now, Sarah? What are you doing? Are you going to particular communities? Do you go to a lot of communities? Do you just go to a few?
I mean, it just depends. I'm in my community often throughout the whole day, right? All of my communities.
Mhm.
I'm in the main school community. I'm in games. I'm trying to get a little bit more active in the games community a little bit, because there is that more of a like fun element, right? And I like to meet new people too. Um, and then there's like, I don't know how many groups I'm in. I'm not in as many groups as most people think I am, but I do try to
Mhm.
stay active, right? Like, and if I'm not active in a space, then I'm really diligent about like, do I need to be in that space? I don't want to be somebody who's not engaging, right? Because I'm all about engagement and like, that kind of thing. Even if it's just a comment once a week or, something like getting in there and like, replying to other people or sharing things or helping people or like whatever. So it's very small chunks of time. Like I said, like I don't have like this sitting here and chatting with you is like the biggest
Yeah.
chunk of time that I take to do something,
Yeah.
on school or something else because there's always kids and animals. Like if it's not the kids, you would think it, then it's the animals and things like that. So I never know what's going to happen when. So I'm
Yeah.
there often, but not for very long time chunks of time.
Yeah. I saw your comment on Calvin's post today, the one about ads. This was a very good post idea. Calvin has a crazy knack for posts,
Yes.
and just that he has a very good understanding of human
Right.
psychology, as Sam Ovens said, something along those lines. And like you said, what if Skool ran official ads elsewhere from significant people in various niches and not just Hermosi? I mean, I thought this was a really good idea. I was gonna comment on it, but it was such a big topic. I was like, I didn't even know. This happens to me a lot, by the way. I actually like when I see information and the answer to it is a big black box that I have a lot of ideas about.
Right.
I love it, but I end up thinking, "Oh my god, yeah." And then I just like leave. And then I just think about it for a while, answering and thinking about that, and I don't actually like make the contribution, which makes me a pretty bad like community manager, which is why I get help from you from
Yeah, it's all
Joel.
good.
It,
We all have
like
strengths and
uh,
weaknesses, right?
I love this idea though. I would love to like dive into this or dive into this thread in general
Yeah, we
because like
could.
I think
I did send the team that message, or I sent Sam actually a
it's
message
a good
about
idea.
that about a
I,
month ago, and he said they are working on it, that they are
I've
going to
been
move in
thinking
that
about
direction.
that.
So I'm like, that's super cool. I'm
Yeah.
so stoked to see how that goes.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife about this in the car a couple days ago over the weekend, and I was talking about how like they probably I don't know the answer to this, but they spent a ton of money on the Hermosi ads in 2024.
Right.
They probably spent like 10 to 50 million dollars on ads or something like that in 2024, and that probably drove some amount of revenue directly. I don't know what it would be. Like it might be 50 million, 20 million, 100 million. I have no idea,
Right.
but I wonder if in 2025, with the difference in this games, with the spread of the categories that can win, I wonder if you could spend the same 50 million and get the same return, but instead of being like Hermosi, it's just like 2,000 different people.
Right.
Some of them are celebrities, some of them are influencers, some of them are artists, some of them are like it's the variety of it's like picking those people could be a full-time job at school.
Right.
Like somebody's job could be like, okay, we have to find 5,000 people that are either coming to this platform, we can compel them to come to this platform, and what they deserve is to like attract a community, and we want those people to be our users, the people that are going to be in a real community,
Right.
and like we're just going to fund that. Like there's this guy that my wife follows, his name's Janan something, and he's an Indian dude, and he has a community about parenting, and he has a take on school, on learning. I think he just says like we need to do a lot of unlearning, and we don't even need to teach kids to read. Like reading was like a mistake. We shouldn't have even taught like reading because it teaches you to like not actually go experience the world and feel the thing. You can't like smell the grass and feel the insects when you're reading. And so like getting kids obsessed with reading is kind of the wrong thing to do at this developmental stage when they should actually go like roll around in the dirt. And he's kind of this he's this person that's like pre influencer, and he's still pure, and he's an artist, and his following is like extraordinarily tight. He has like a WhatsApp group. There's like 100 people in there, 200 people, and it's just like hyper engaged. Everyone's obsessed.
Right.
I think he has a couple thousand followers on YouTube, but it's like he's not a popular guy.
I
It's
mean,
like
that
this
flies
is
in the
somebody
face of
that
most mainstream shit. So, like, I mean,
yeah.
I understand and I jive with it. Like, I'm all about like life-led learning and child-led learning, and like I had one kid that didn't read until she was 11, but you know what? She loves to read right now. Whereas my husband, who
Mm-hmm.
had a hard time learning how to read, but they forced him to, like, he still doesn't love to read. Right? I would rather
Mm,
wait and let them figure it out on their own, and let's do this when you want to do it, when you're passionate, right? And it could be that, maybe she wanted to play a video game, and I'm like, well, if you want to know what those say, you need to learn how to read, right? And so it's like
mm-hmm.
fostering a love of learning rather than forcing them to, oh, you need to learn this right when I say, right? I'm not like,
Yeah.
I just have stubborn kids too, right? So it's the same thing with
Yeah.
like potty training or anything. Like, it's like I could wait until they're ready and they want to do it and they're potty trained in a week, or I could try to force them like way before they're ready and like have whole big messes
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. So like, and nobody's gonna ask them when they're 18, when did you learn how to read? When did you learn, how to use the toilet? Like all
Yeah.
of this stuff, right? We get it all
It's the
ingrained in our head. Oh, we have to do it this way. We have to do it this way. We have to do it this then, right? But why? Right?
Yeah, we're all on this different time. We all like learn in different ways and have different preferences.
Yep.
And so it makes a ton of sense. And Janan is just one of these guys though, where I'm like, these are the types of people that should come to school. And honestly, like that could be a way to spend that money to bring users to the platform is like
Right.
help people that are already like extremely successful in this small level, help them level up and bring people because they already have the drive, the connection, they have information that should be shared and that helps the world, but what they don't have is like a hyper efficient platform and then an understanding of how to drive traffic to get the message out to people that need it. It's like maybe that you offer that to the right people because I could think of like dozens of these types of characters that like they're passionate, they have a small following, but they don't know the growth part. And I see like this is just me being inventive, like I see the budget of like schools ads, like school games ad budget in 2025. Like if I had to choose how to spend it, I would
Right.
spend it like an index fund, like an index fund. It's a mixture of like growth oriented things. Some are stable, some are most likely going to die, but they're like insane potential, and there's different levels of risk and stability. And instead of like the I don't even know if this was true, like instead of going all in on one person like Hermosi who's all
Right.
growth, maybe they actually split up their budget for all I know, but like if they thought of it like an index fund where the Hermosi types got like 30% because it's gonna grow the platform,
Right.
and then it was like 30% artists, 30% celebrities, and 10% like we're just gonna go crazy with people that like they have no start at all and they're just like experiments. So, it's like just some kind of intentional spread
Right.
that somebody looked after. That would be excellent. That would be how I would go about it too with the new category games setup because you'll attract like this variety pack instead of just you know, the
Right.
other
And then when
sort
you're
of just the
talking to
one
people
type.
at school, you can be like, look, here from this person and this person, and then it's more well-rounded rather than, oh no, this is what school is. No, it's really not. I
Yeah.
freaking promise you it's not. Come to the platform and see, and you will find really amazing people. Just come try it. But nope, we can't. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the people at school want the quality to just go up as far as the people that are coming on the platform. They're like, how do we bring people that are high quality? I think they've been trying to do that, and that's a high priority, which kind of brings me happiness and like it makes me feel like I'm in the right place.
Right.
And at the same time, that's just like a hard thing to do while growing. So like they
Right.
they have to work extra hard, I bet, at doing that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. But this freaking thread, I was on this school thread that Calvin made for too much time. Like what if school, let's play a game, please post what would happen if school blank. Here you complete the change of school. And the example he put was like what would happen if Skool introduced the ability to schedule posts? And it seems like a lot of people use this to kind of like talk about the features they want,
Right.
and or even the features they don't want. Like I don't know if Calvin really wants to schedule posts or he knows it's a bad idea or
Right.
what, but that was a great conversation. Like
What starts the
20
conversation, right? He's really good at that. He's very good at the
yeah.
community building and like, yeah.
Yeah, everyone start a conversation is what this was. And then each of these threads, I mean, it's like 10 comments, 13 comments, 7, 6, 14, 30. It was just like a giant conversation. Um
I shouldn't tell you that
yeah.
was from yesterday, right? So I shouldn't tell you that he posted
Oh
one this
yeah.
morning about uh what should school never
No.
do.
No, what?
I can't remember if it was in James
What?
or if it was in the regular school community. Like check his posts. Let's
Must
see.
be in the other one.
Try the main one.
To do.
At least I swear it was
Please
him.
don't do
Yeah.
this. Oh. We're constantly getting suggested new features here. Which features have already been suggested, but which you definitely don't want because then the development of Skool would go in the wrong direction. Yeah, scheduled posts is also at the top. It was at the top of the other conversation, and it's the top of this one. It's definitely a hotly
Yeah.
debated topic. 100%. Okay, so Calvin agrees with no scheduled posts.
Right. And it's one of those
Man,
things, right? Like I get it. And not that I've ever used it because again, I'm very much in the flow. That's just how I operate. So when I feel like posting, I post. But like I get, people who are running businesses and on different social platforms and all of this, like they prefer to do it that way. So it's just taken care of and very type A. Like they can just check it off the list, right? But like I see the other side where it's like, okay, but you're not present in that room, right?
yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
post and you're not engaging in, especially on other platforms, not necessarily on Skool, because like the algorithm, like I think it's just a discovery algorithm. It's not really like it is other places. But if you don't start interacting with those people that are interacting on your post when it first goes live, you're screwed. Like that's part of what the
Mhm.
algorithm then picks up and pushes it to other people, right? And so
Mhm.
like we get into this automatic kind of thing and it just turns into this very sterile, like non-human kind of gig. So like I can see both sides of it,
Mm.
but like I'm team no. Like we don't need that. Like there are other things
Yep.
we do need, like reply to comments. Like who in the
Yeah.
subthreads, which subthread comment are you replying to make it easier to figure out, or in DMs, right? Like I would much rather have that than
Mm.
scheduled posts.
Same. I'm not a believer in scheduled posts either. It's like you gotta you gotta post your thing yourself, like at the time you choose. I think it's messed up. A lot of the other platforms have just turned into like, guess what? You don't have to be here because there's buffer, and because of this tool that you can schedule things, you can just never show up on our platform,
And then we just
but
use
take advantage.
ChatGPT to make your, post for you, and then you just schedule it, and
Yeah.
then it's just yeah, and then they wonder why the people aren't engaging in there or not like, and then people try to
Yeah.
do that here, and it's like, what what are we doing here? This is not the same thing as everywhere else, and if you do that here, it's not going to do what you think it might.
Yeah. I totally agree. A lot of this stuff is pretty good stuff. Like I don't miss the audio thing. Do you miss the audio rooms?
Not really, because I could never get captions on my phone to where that's another thing too, right? For
Mm,
anybody else watching, like I'm primarily mobile. I don't sit here on this computer very often unless I'm running a call or I'm doing an interview, or if I'm the odd like back end GHL thing, because the app thing doesn't
yeah.
really work on the mobile. Otherwise, I'm primarily mobile. So
Do
like
you
I
use
couldn't figure
GHL?
out. Hmm.
Do you use GHL?
Slightly. Little
Did
bits. Like
was
I
was
set
this
up a nurture
was this
sequence for
something?
email. Like once I get it, I'm fine. Like I can do that. I know
Yeah.
I can do that. I set up my calendar link booking thing. Finally, I got that. Like there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of other shit that I don't know, but that's okay because I really all I need right now is email and calendar. That's okay for me, right?
Yeah.
So like I couldn't figure out how to get my phone said it was do captions, and I was talking to like Sid and people on the team like, if you guys do this, like figure out how to make it so that I can run caption. Like I can hear, but I can't hear very well, and captions really help me out a lot. And so like in an audio room, like I'm sitting here with this part of my phone up to my ear trying to hear what everybody's saying, and then I can't see who's talking, and like, so like I love the thought of it, but I also love like this whole thing where I can see your face and your like body language and your expressions and all of that, and I can run captions well on a regular call, right? So like I appreciate that because like you can hear it, like voice is better than reading text without emojis or with
Yeah.
gifts, right? Like text with gifts or emojis is okay. Hearing is better because you can hear vocal inflection, but then like seeing and hearing,
Hmm.
like it's like the total picture and what I would prefer. Yeah, I would much prefer
Yeah.
like on platform video calls, like this kind of thing would be great, but
Hmm.
like it's not necessary because we have other tools outside too.
Yeah. You heard it here, Skool. Sid, come on. Captions. Take care of Sarah. Help her out. There's probably
Right, but they
others
took
like
away
her.
audio rooms anyway, so it's all good. Like Sam
Yeah,
decided
that's
he didn't
true.
like them because it looked like nobody was ever in there when they did the beta test or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. I could
I
do without him. It's fine.
You got some dogs. You're such a homesteader. You got your dogs, you got your kids.
Chickens and goats and cats and rabbits
Yeah.
and a bearded dragon. The Hubs has a bearded dragon too. She lives in
Ooh,
a
how
in a
old?
glass
The
enclosure.
suckers get old, right? Those bearded dragons can be super old. So how old is your bearded dragon?
Well, he just got it in the spring, and it was like 6 or 8 weeks. So I mean, she's
Okay.
grown pretty big. Like she was very tiny when
Hmm.
we first got her, but yeah, she's mostly hibernating now. No,
How old did they get? Can't they get to be like something that you wouldn't expect age? Or am I thinking of like, is
I
that
am
just
not sure.
turtles?
That's not been one of my neurospicy deep dives. I'm sure my
I'm gonna look it
Hubs
up.
could tell you, but not me.
Bearded dragon age. All right. 10 years. The oldest is only 18 years old. Okay. Not as old as I thought.
Yeah, I
Not
think
as
the
old as I
average is like
thought.
12, maybe. Like for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
12 is coming to mind, but I didn't want to say that because I wasn't for sure.
Yeah. These things are weird.
Yeah, they're not my jam.
It- oh
But he wanted one. He's wanted one for years, so he went out and bought himself one in the spring. So,
my gosh. Dragons.
yep.
Mm. Sarah, what have I not asked you that I should ask you? What am I missing here? What's a topic that I feel like you you don't get asked about, but it's a good one? What do we need to know right now?
I don't know, dude. I mean, well, we've covered parenting, we've covered a little bit of unschooling, we've covered school stuff, we've covered some of the past business stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What is the school? What is the way that you're like working on school with your kids that you were talking about?
Oh, so I bought their URL, right? It's backslash crochet
Mm.
because so my teens, because originally, so when we first moved
Oh.
here 3 years ago, they came to me, said after we got the chickens, Mom, we want goats. I said, okay, goats weren't really on my radar. Like I had thought
Mm.
about a dairy cow or something originally, but then like it was like our pastors need help and whatever. But they were like, we want
Mm-hmm.
goats, and I'm like, okay, this is what I do, right? And we could talk about what happened with my son too, if you want. I'd be like,
Yeah.
how do you want to fund that? Because okay,
Mm.
you want it. I'm not going to tell you no, right? How do you want to fund that? So then they think about it, and the older one, she's 17 and a half now, so she was about 14 and a half, had taught herself how to crochet, right? Well, so the younger one, who's 19 months younger than her, decided, okay, well, I'm going to go to the library because we still go to the library and get physical books, and learn how to crochet. So they started learning how to do that and then talking to family members and friends, right? And then like, okay, well, I'll set you up an Instagram, I'll set you up, whatever. And then an opportunity came through my hubs. He found this record shop about 40 minutes away because we live in the middle of nowhere, remember?
Mm-hmm.
um, where, the record store was just opened and they were looking for people to consign, right? So then I contacted him and talked, and it was a really good fit, right? Um, and the reason why it's a good fit is because my kids don't crochet like granny type crochet. They don't crochet like baby
Mm.
blankets and stuff like that. Like it's very they do a lot of like retro like Nintendo game stuff. And so originally when the record store
Ooh.
opened, it was like a video game and record store. So like they could like they don't follow patterns. They think of it in here and it comes out of their hands, right? So they've been doing this and they raised enough money to buy 4 baby goats from our friend instead of 2, right? And so
Wow.
then it's just kept going. So they've continued to do that. They open a table, a booth, whatever, at the Mother's Day sale locally, and they make decent money at that. Well, then it was like, okay, I'd love to figure out a way to help them make more passive income, right? Because right now they're creating all these things, which is great, but like I know they'll want to do other things eventually too. Well, because they
Mm-hmm.
create the patterns, they do it. So I was like, hey, you need to start writing down what you're doing, right? When you make a pattern and then make it again based on your writing. And then we can start
Mm.
putting your patterns up, right? And so that's
Mm.
the goal for the school, the SKOOL for them is to have a place to host their patterns. And it's not grandma's crochet, it doesn't have to be that
Mm-hmm.
way. You can crochet whatever you want, and then they'll have like a one-time purchase where you can order them to make something special for you or your kid, like order something custom
Ah.
made, or something a little cheaper is you can have them design a pattern for you. Like they'll make the thing, take the photo, and you can have the pattern, and then they'll take that to consign at the shop, right? So, but a lot of balls in the air
Wow.
all the time, right? Like they're about page
So
done and like semi started, but like I need to redo it. That's something for the new year for sure.
yeah. So is the school group, are they gonna sell inside of the classroom? Is the group gonna be like free to join and then
I
you
haven't
can
decided
actually
right now.
buy?
It's like $8 or $12. Like I just put a price on it
Okay.
because they have an Instagram.
Yeah.
Like again, I can run also ads for that too, but haven't got there yet. Too
Mm-hmm.
manifesting
Yeah.
generator, human design, like too many things going on. But like the goal is to then we may market for free for a little while to get people in, and then do like an eight
Mm-hmm.
dollar a month or like a low ticket. So then they'll put a new
Mm-hmm.
pattern every week. So then they'll have there will be a different type of pattern. So there's something for everybody, and maybe we'll do a call once a month or every other week or something where they could just chat crochet, right? And then they'll have the one
Mm.
time purchases for the special one offs or whatever.
Did you hear about the group that just sits on a Zoom like and they just crochet together and that's all they do?
Oh, that's cool. No, I
Matthew
don't
told me about
personally
this.
crochet. I knit, but I
Yeah,
don't crochet.
yeah. It might even be knitting. It was either crocheting or knitting, but Matthew told me about this and he was really excited about it. He's like these just it's just the perfect way to do a community thing. They just all
You can
they
just like
do is
jump in,
open
and
the
whoever's there,
Zoom
you can chat and just
and they're
crochet and
just
drink your
like
coffee or your tea, and like that's cool.
yeah, they're not talking like crochet shop. They're just like
Just doing
they're
life
basically
community stuff,
just
like
being
human
just
stuff,
doing
right?
just doing human stuff.
Yep.
What the heck? I mean, I think about this all the time and I overthink about this all the time, I would say as well. You know this cuz you're like somebody that's helping with the ads lab. You're like it's just the bigger the more people that show up, the more expectations, the harder it is to just kind of just like show up and do kind of what you originally were doing. And I was just talking to Joel about this before you were on here that like I'm very happy that it's the holidays. Like this is the last thing that I have to do before I basically shut down for the holidays and I hang out with my family and I think about the year and then when I come back I want to have thought or rather like not have thought enough to where like the vision is more clear to return
Right.
to
Like you can rest
because
and relax and like, kind of set
yeah,
an intention, but also for you specifically is to not
yeah,
overthink the intention. Like just keep it very,
yeah,
very simple. Yeah.
yeah. The way that we started was just like we wanted everyone to share what was happening with their ads with each other. And it was just going to be like we just have each other's perspective and we run ads together. But it's slowly become learn ads from us and people still share. But when people share, we don't like do enough to like we've kind of made it too hard, I think, to share. Like I've overthought the run a test template. I'm trying to think about how to just like dial it back. It's really good that people want to share, but it doesn't like start the conversations like it used to. And I think it's because we grew a lot and like we actually like broke the system that was working prior to like growing really hard. And
Right.
so now I'm like thinking about how to return to it. But I don't know if just like going back and doing what we used to do is the best way because ads have changed a lot.
Right.
School ads and strategies are shifty and we like talking. It's so this is like what I'm thinking about right now is kind of like that topic. And you probably know a lot about what we could do as well because you're in the group with me. You're responding
We just need to
sometimes to
infuse a little bit more humanness
yeah.
into the group. That's all.
Yeah.
Like chat, just chat about life. Like we were just talking, like how you and I are doing,
Yeah.
right? Like we just chat. Hey, what you got going on for the holidays? Hey, what are you doing? Or, that kind of thing. Just real easy,
Yeah.
especially for the newbies that are coming in that don't really understand what's what. And then they're afraid to like comment on other people's stuff. But when you can start, so this is a tip for anybody watching. Like when you
Yeah.
start making non-niche related posts that anybody can answer, right? So, and it doesn't have to be completely not niche related. Like it doesn't have to be completely off or you can show your workspace, right? Or,
Mhm.
what is your favorite blah? Just, share your favorite GIF about this kind of situation. Like for me, like today, earlier I made because I had to go get 9 bales of hay. I shoved them in the van, Devin. This is complete like side story. I got the 9 bales of hay, not 10. We were hoping for 10, but we didn't take all the seats out. 4 bags of feed, right? I get them all in the van. We get home, I get pulled up to the back of the barn. And then we remember that because it's an older van and it's janky and I've got 5 kids still at home that are not easy on things, you have to like pull on a cord on the back of the van and the side doors no longer work because they broke those. You have to pull on this cord in the back and then pull on the lever on the outside to get the door up, right? Well, it's all full of hay and feed.
Oh my gosh.
So well, the teens that work on the crochet stuff, the one tried to do it, she couldn't do it. So like she's not mechanically minded like that. But then the younger one comes out.
Yeah.
And we move this and we move that, we do that. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, got the hay done. And we're gonna make cookies after this. And now I've completely lost what the train of so the post I made in my group, right, was that it's like crunchy or chewy. Like this is cookie day for me. Like, what is your preference and why? When earlier last week after our weekly call, I posted in the group, okay, we were talking about cookies because it's coming to holiday season. And yeah, we fixed some funk too. But like, what's your favorite? Like, holiday cookie or like whatever. What do you remember your grandma used to make, right? Because that's the conversation. That's
Mm.
how the conversation went on the call. And I just brought it back into the class, like in the community. So other people that weren't on the call could then chime in, right? But those are
Mm.
the sorts of things. Then people start talking to each other, right? They start sharing bits and pieces about each other. And when they start doing that, it builds relationships. So then when they come and post a test, their friend's going to be like, oh, dude, that looks fucking amazing. Right. Or this, that kind
Mhm.
of thing. And so then it starts creating a culture, right? The experience to go along with the results that they're getting from their ads. Because that was a thing.
Mm.
I haven't put a VSL yet on my page, but that's the thing that
And
I
you know
watched
what? Don't.
Layla.
You shouldn't. Don't do it. Don't do the VSL. I'm thinking about VSLs. I don't know. I don't know. We teach people VSLs. Our lead magnet is a VSL template, and the thing I'm gonna test in January is like, what if I don't do a VSL? Huh? What the fuck then? So like
Share it and see.
I'm just gonna speak to what people get of the group. I kind of understand a general structure of a VSL, but then we're just gonna do like a heavy edit of this like speak from the heart as to why a
I mean,
person
that's
should
basically what
join.
I'm gonna do, dude. Like, I've had so many
Yeah.
conversations with a couple of dudes, like that we've
Yeah.
gotten to know each other really well, and they're like, if anybody can do a VSL that's not like start, it's you. Like, okay, that's good. Like, I'm glad. Like, and if people want to copy it, like whatever. But like, and I told the other dude, I was like, I can't. Like, I tried to script one. not even based on like Hormozy or anything specific, like just scripting one. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading it and I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. It doesn't fucking sound like me. Like
Mm,
I want to sound like I'm
mm,
talking to you, right? Like I'm really intentional about I am the same. I show up the same way now. However, like I did have one dude tell me months ago, like, I don't understand. Like you can leave these really deep thought out like comments over here, and over here I see you being naughty. Like I I've got all these bits and
mm,
pieces, right? Like I'm gonna do that. So I intentionally am the same way when I'm responding to people as I am on my about page, as I am on the calls. And so I want
yeah.
to make sure that my VSL, it's just a video, right? It's just a video. And I want my passion to come through in the video. Because if I'm not able to
Mm-hmm.
sit here and talk like I am talking to you and be passionate about something, about helping somebody else, why would they be
Yeah.
passionate about working with me? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm
Yeah.
coming from, and that's the core, and it's part of the reason why the stuff isn't up yet. Well, because I had life implode like Jerry Springer style in extended family kind of stuff in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm gonna do it when it's nice outside because Ohio we get really, really hot in the summer, like humid and gross, and we don't have air conditioning where we live at the moment, which is fine. But like, and then it got into fall and all this stuff. Like, it's just not the right time, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't stop me
Mm-hmm.
from doing what I do on Skool and like helping people and all of that. Like the VSL will get done when it's supposed to, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think VSLs are good, but I do think that at a certain point, if you know your offer really well and you've done your VSL and it's performed, you might actually be able to make a better like natural video if you can edit it down like a good
Right,
edited VSL, if you could spice it up, if if you're capable of that. I think the VSL is something most people are capable of, like using one of the templates, writing it, and then teleprompter, and it is effective. It does get the conversion rate.
right,
Like ours is like between 3.5 to 6 is what our conversion rate is when we're using our VSL, depending on the quality of traffic. And it
right,
hovers around 4 or 5. And when we're really hustling nicely, it's like 6. But it's like I wonder, yeah, I wonder about
or
the
just play around and do
presentation.
something different, right? Well, that's the other thing too. I
Yeah.
like to talk to people about like if everybody's doing the same thing the exact same way, people get banner blindness to it, right? And you want to do
Yeah.
something and
It's
that
true.
infuses your personality and your authentic self into it because you are what makes it different from them going anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So play around, do a
Well,
test, do something really fun and goofy, and try that, and then try something else, and it's like a
mm,
never-ending testing thing.
yeah. Our plan in August, after we won the games, we were thinking, let's update our VSL like every month, launch a new VSL at the beginning of every month, and then we kind of have an ad campaign about that month. And that was a great idea that we didn't execute at all. We have the same VSLs we did. We made one right after the games ended. And that's been the same one that we've had. But I still kind of go back to that idea because I like something about it. I think that the problem I have with it now is like if I were to release the structure of it being VSL structured around our template every month, and instead I kind of reshot, like why would you join right now? Like why this month? And I
Right,
just talk about that. I feel like that could be really effective. I mean, that's kind of why the ads were really effective for us is we just launched a lot of new ads and people
right,
liked them, and it was like it became a creative passion to make fun ads and like to do this thing. And I feel like the more of the more of it is just you making stuff it's just like fun, and you do it to see what happens and people laugh.
yep,
It's just the better I think it is.
yep.
But
And the other
I
thing
don't know.
I would
Yeah.
add is to make damn sure you've got reviews. Like text reviews are great, but if you can get video fucking review, like video reviews where the
Mm.
people can see their stuff, right? Like that's something that I managed to get enough, which you still owe me one. I'm gonna call you out
Oh,
on the
I do.
podcast.
I do still owe you one. I'm gonna write it down.
But getting, the reviews and then putting those up, like edit them so that they're to the point and like they convey what happens when somebody works with you, right? But get those up on the page too, because listening to other people talk about, what's happened when they've worked with you, that's amazing. And like we just talked about earlier, video encompasses, seeing all of the body language and the facial expressions and the hearing and the vocal inflections. It's just much more impactful than it is, to read text on a screen. So,
Mm. I like this idea of a video where you have the actual about page video worked in, and you also can get the testimonials in there as well, like in the mix of the same video. But maybe
that
they
would be
should be
fun.
separate. Do you think
I
they
would
should
have
be
to pay an
together or
editor for
separate?
that. I cannot do that, but I can
Can
crop
you do this
and
for
like
me?
mash three of them together, and that's what I did for my free and low ticket, and then high ticket. They each get their own. And if I have to get rid of my
Yeah.
still slides on that one, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm. I saw that Skool reverted the school games about page back to the
I
old
haven't
one. Did
seen.
you
I'm not
notice?
ever on laptop, so I've not seen it.
Shh, check it out. What's
See if
going
I can see it on this tiny
on?
little part of the screen, because I'm grandma that needs
Presents.
glasses too.
Yeah, this is their about page now. It's
We'll see what
not
happens come
the.
January once they announce the new rules. If they put a new VSL up, like that's probably I've seen
Mm-hmm.
people. Why is the VSL on? It's probably because they're revamping school games and they need to redo what they're doing. But maybe not. Maybe they just won't. Maybe they're trying it out to see what happens when they don't have a VSL. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look at this.
Oh, look at you!
Oh, right under Hermosi
It's fucking amazing,
is
dude.
freaking poor man's Hermosi right here. You
That's
got.
probably why they put you right there.
I feel like there's something there. Like they knew like we got Hermosi. There's something missing. What is it? Oh,
The hat.
poor man's Hermosi right below him saying, I've never made more friends in my life in the span of 1 month. True statement.
Yes,
Um, yeah.
it's freaking
I'm
amazing.
kind of I'm kind of yeah, I'm kind of excited they rolled it back because I'm on this one now. I'm back in it, baby. I'm in the mix.
Yeah.
Very, very curious. I'm really ready to see. You think they're gonna announce the new games like January 1st? They're gonna be like, "Tis 2025." You know how this is gonna happen? You have any
Maybe.
insider information?
I mean, you would figure that they would do a webinar though. Like
Mm,
Sam did a webinar for like the
yeah,
Cybertruck, madness, whatever. Like you
right.
would figure they would do a webinar, but maybe not. Who knows? It
Maybe
was
they'll just do
because
the. Maybe they'll just do the. Like it might be this end of December games. Maybe the 28th event
maybe.
in the school games.
Well, that's normal though. That's the
There's
end of the month, right? So are they? I wonder.
right.
Are they combining last month's winners and this month's to go in January together?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to win the affiliates too.
You
I'm
haven't won affiliates yet?
no, I'm trying to.
Oh,
I've
dude,
not won yet.
that's fucking amazing. I saw you up
Yeah,
there. I was like, I think he's won already. But nope, if you haven't, that's a great month to go then.
it might be the last month.
I mean, I'm sure they'll still do affiliates in some fashion. I don't know
Might not be
how.
monthly though. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be different. Might be the quarterly 90 or I don't know, but thought this might be it. I better get in there, and so we're
There you are.
excited to push on that a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
there I am.
that's very cool. You'll have to go by your
When
lonesome though.
I know it's sad. Joel and Matt like hanging out in Vegas. That was very nice. Like meeting Joel, our like little
In person.
guy that we didn't know he was like a human being until we saw I saw his body in Vegas. And
Right.
I feel like we also kind of tainted him a little bit. Like we took him straight to a hotel casino, and then we our perfect little Joel like yeah, but we got to hang out and we got to meet each other. He was actually way more like dapper than I thought. I picked him up in the at the airport and he had
Not so
like a
business
sweater on.
mode. Like he's that's cool.
it was cool. Like he had a sweater, like a cool guy sweater, like this a sweater you like James Bond would wear like on the weekend. And I was like, you just flew across the whole country, dude. Why do you look so good right now? He just looked perfect, and I had no excuse. I looked like total shit. I like looked like this. I just had like a flannel on. My hair was all fucked up, and I was like, "Hey, Joel," and that was it. Rest is history. We connected. It was the best. I don't think I had more fun. And the IRL school, like the meeting people in real life because you met on school thing, bigger thing than people realize. I feel like. I
Yeah,
feel like school. I feel like Matthew knows this, and like Sam knows this. This is why they have the school games and the
right.
in-person event. But like, I feel like that's another part of school that is, it's not like formed yet. They haven't like infused that part of the funnel
Right.
into
They're working
school
on it,
where,
but yeah.
yeah, the map's a start. The map
Yeah.
would be a start.
I
But
can't
yeah,
wait. Someday I will. I'll fly out to like LA or fly out west and
we
meet all
thought about having an
incredible
ads lab
people.
event.
Huh?
We've thought about having an ads lab event.
Oh, there you go. If you have
Mm-hmm.
it in the
Just
US, absolutely I will come. See, I was talking to Goose from Captivate because they're doing it in real life. They're thinking in February, right? But he's thinking Mexico,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting here going, I don't have my passport. Like that retreat I told you about last fall, a little over a year ago, was the first time I had flown since high school. I'd only flown once in high school, and then I flew last year to Miami, and then took the Uber for the first time. And like, it sounds like I'm like
Wow.
real sheltered. I'm not. I just
You
haven't
took
ever
an
done
Uber?
the traveling thing, right?
First time taking an Uber? Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Oh my god. What the heck? You're
So
like Amish. I thought you were a
I'm
homesteader,
not
but
Amish, dude. I promise.
jeez. Do you make your own furniture as well?
No,
Like
I'd like to though. Some of day eventually
I
when we're swimming in the money, like we'll have a my the older teen wants to do metal working, like forging and stuff.
mm,
Like she's taken a
mhm.
few, like she's done some stuff with one of the Hub's friends, and she wants to do that. And then Hubs wants to do
Yeah.
woodworking. I would love to do woodworking, and after I land a few more clients, I'm gonna buy a pottery wheel and kiln because that was my jam in
Mhm.
high school. Like I took all the classes I could, and then an independent study as well. So like
Mhm.
that's my like then I'll be making pottery mugs and planter pots for fun.
A pottery group where you just do pottery together and you're just humans while you do pottery?
Dude, like if I had
Mm.
all the groups that I could have, like I had another dude I was chatting with last week, and we were talking about health stuff, right? And like, because I am like a deep dove again, and it's like a catalog, right? And it's the same way with school. That's why like if people need help. Oh, this is what you know. Check this out. Check this out. You know, it's just like a. Not that my brain functions like that all the time, and like I said, I'm not type A. But like he's like, oh, you should start a school. Why don't you do this? I'm like, first of all, like I could, but I'm trying to not like do 50 bazillion things. I need to focus on
Mhm.
this one for right now. Second of all, a lot of like I've gone through the herbs and stuff, and like I can talk to people about that, and not that I don't think that they're helpful and stuff, but like the deeper that you dive, like the further out you get, right? So like homeopathy is like further out than herbs are, and most people are okay just now getting
Mm.
comfortable with herb stuff, right? So then you start talking about energetic medicine and all this other stuff, and they're like can't
Yeah.
like it just that's one other reason why I archived that group, right? Was like I didn't have the time right now, like, and I'm going to come back to it, but like right now, like it's just the state of the world and where most people are at. Not that I couldn't find people that were into homeopathy, but like it just wasn't jiving. So like I
Mhm.
could create all these different groups. Like I could do one on Homestead. I could do it in sourdough. That's part of the reason though, like why I started the spaces too, is like I want to show people like from Instagram and other places, right? Like this is much better than Kajabi. Like I've never run Kajabi, but I've been I'm
Mhm.
a user of Kajabi for other like I've bought somebody's programs and stuff. Like this is
Yeah.
freaking awful, right? It's complicated.
Mhm.
I've heard horror stories about how complicated it is on the back end. Like I want to help all of these people, right? Come to school and build the stuff. You know, I don't have to teach everything, right? I just don't.
Mhm.
I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't need to create all the schools. I can help empower other people to come to the schools, do their own schools, and that would be better,
Yeah.
more fulfilling for me, right? Because I can help spur them
Mm-hmm.
on so that they can make the money for their family and stay, you know what I mean? And
It's a
that's
0 to 1. Yeah. You're like you like the 0 to 1 helping. People are different, good at different things. Some people it's like from helping somebody from 0 to 1, 1 to 5, 5 to 50. I mean, if we're talking about like where you, I feel like you are good at that. Like looking at like you're good at helping people start, unblocking them early on, so like they don't get discouraged, and at least this is just true for what I've noticed you help us with in the ads lab. And so, yeah, it's a very, very 0 to 1. You're going to be pretty crazy on the affiliate game when that comes out too. Like you might want to hold out on all your plans until you just see what happens whenever they release that affiliate thing. And all of a sudden, like you can
No, I'll
track
still be doing what I'm doing
commissions
because I
and
really love what I'm doing. Like, I really just love
yeah.
helping people, whether it is the beginners. Like, I help intermediate people
Hmm.
too, and like you guys are
Yeah. But
amazing.
what I mean though is like part of the way that you help people on Skool because you're plugged in on Skool is you just make the right suggestion to them, which might be like you need the ads lab. You could earn money just helping people with like the map that they're just like, hey, like my feet hurt. Where do I go? You're like fucking feet thing over here. Ads lab over here. Like
Right?
that's valuable. That is a 0 to 1 aspect. And
Yeah.
I've just noticed you can create this massive like map of all the things and how they all work and what they all
Oh, you
are.
need this person. Oh, it's over here. Oh, let me recommend
Yeah.
somebody else to you over here. And I don't give a shit if they
Yeah.
pay me or not. Like, I just love connecting people too, right? And I love people.
Yeah.
I love asking people questions, right? I got to help a dude. He had about 6 months ago. His reviews on my low ticket. He was stuck. He was like, I don't know what I'm going to start a school group about. I don't know whatever, and he's run his own business before and he's done this stuff, right? So it was just a matter of asking some questions, right? And so here we are 6 months later, he's pulled in 50K worth of sales, right? And like, it's just a matter of unlocking, like, it's a mind fuckery thing, I call it, right? You ask the
Mm-hmm.
questions and then you sit with that and you're like, do, uh, do you like what that's serving you? Like, we don't do things that don't serve us something. So, like, you need to pause,
Mm-hmm.
figure out what that is that's serving you. Like, oh, I'm not going to be able to figure out a school group. I'm not going to do this. Okay, where's that coming from? What's it serving you? Do you like what it's serving you? If not,
Mm-hmm.
you need to make some different choices, like we were talking about, right? You can't make the same choices and end up at a different spot. So he made his own choices. He did all the hard work, but like he's super awesome, and gave me a review and was like, if without those questions, like, I wouldn't be where I am, right? Even though he's the one that did
Mm-hmm.
the stuff. So that's this part. Like, I love like
Mm.
helping people unlock things for themselves.
Yeah. You give them the right ponderance at the right time when they're like, just like, and a lot of people just, I mean, too, like, just we do the wrong shit like all
Well,
the
it's hard.
time.
I mean, I do the
There's like,
wrong shit
hey,
sometimes. Everybody does, and like
yeah,
this is right here,
yeah,
right? You have to be able to step up above yourself and like look at it
yeah,
objectively. Yeah.
yeah. Most people that have questions in the ads lab, I've noticed the question is like, it's like wrong. They're like, conversions are broken. And I'm like, yeah, so let's talk about this for a minute. And it's like,
I need some more
you,
clarifying
yeah,
things first, and then we'll figure out exactly what the problem
yeah.
is.
The reality is like they're sending traffic to the wrong, they're sending traffic somewhere. People that are converting are like outside the attribution. There's a reason, but like
Right.
conversions work. It's like we often have the wrong sort of look. And in the beginning, like when you're kind of asking the wrong questions, like you're gonna go down the wrong road unless somebody helps you like
Right.
with the right
And you
prompt.
don't
They're
know that
like,
you're
you know
not
what?
asking the right questions, right? And then people tell you
Yeah,
that you're not asking the right questions, and then you're like, "But
yeah,
I am. Like, this is the problem." No, this is not the problem. Like,
yeah. I
let's
see
help you
people
figure
show
out what
up
the
and
problem is.
there are people that show up. They have like a really solid skill, and they're like it's pretty clear to me like how they should start their group, but they'll be like, what book should I read? I'm about to start my group. Like I'm just like, dude, just start your group. Like you just told
Right.
us what your group is. Like you started it sort of, but you're afraid to do the next
Weird.
thing. Like the next thing is like just turn it on, chart like
Right.
attract a few. Just keep going. You don't need a book, But their
Right.
question is like, what book do I need? I think that I need a book because it's like, I don't know where you heard that,
And it takes
Mister
some messy
Fella, but
action, dude, and let's go. Then you evaluate and refine and take more messy action and evaluate
yeah,
and refine and take more messy action. It's just the cycle, right?
yeah. You were talking about weird energy shit earlier, and it made me think of something. Or I have a group that's just like Devin, just where I post random shit that I like.
Right.
And yes, we were talking about UFOs over. I was talking about UFOs over New Jersey intersection with Terrence McKenna because I was reading Terrence McKenna yesterday, and I posted this, and I want to hear your thoughts because I feel like you and I have to have this conversation because
We're going to
it's
have this conversation on
unrelated.
this
It's
platform right this
it
minute. Okay.
it's
I will
completely
make a
unrelated.
caveat that says that I have delved into various lots of esoteric and all sorts of manner of things that are not mainstream. However, my hubs is the one that is like neurospicy deep dive into UFOs specifically.
Oh well, get him in here. Where is he at?
No,
Come on.
he's paying attention to children.
Okay, well, listen to this. If we could intelligently examine dimensions that the psychedelic plants make available, we could contact the Oversoul and leave behind this era where dominance hierarchies must be disciplined by UFOs and messiahs, and where progress is halted for millennia because culture cannot advance ethics at the same rate of technology. Now, Sarah, what do you think of the drones over New Jersey?
I haven't thought about the first thing that came to my mind when you were reading that though is like whoever's writing that, like we came here for a reason. Like we came here for this experience for a reason. Like plant medicine aside and all this other stuff, trying to escape it and like, whatever, like kind of defeats the purpose of why you came here, I feel like. I feel like
Mm,
um
what do you
drones. I don't
mean?
know what they are. I
What do
haven't
you,
really. What did you say, Devin? I'm sorry.
well, the thing that's interesting is probably is more the orbs than the drones. The things that drones are chasing around that nobody knows
Ah,
what they are. That's the thing that's interesting. Is there these weird little like plasma orby things in the sky over New Jersey and over military bases in New Jersey, and the thing that's kind of making the rounds that is the focus are like these drones that are chasing them around. And then there's a ton of people just like taking really stupid videos of like regular airplanes right now and just saying like, what is this? And like it's making everything seem like really stupid. And so that aside though, like I don't know, there's just I'm really interested in the energy stuff.
yeah.
There's a part of me that just like I think that the stuff that is in the energy stuff, I think the reason I have an interest in it is because it's like why we want to do good. It's like why I want school to be good, like why I don't want to just help people make money fast. Like the why of that, like the answer is like somewhere in the energy stuff. And
I'm
so
gonna
I've always
remind
been
you about
interested in
that.
the
I want to
energy
answer
stuff.
your drone question though. Like, and I
Yeah.
again, I haven't dove deep into any of this. I don't follow anybody that posts any of this stuff, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But however, like, and the way that my brain works, like, I like to see all the different sides of the scenario, and then so I've heard, oh, they're UFOs. Oh, they're drones from our military government looking for, radioactive bomb, whatever they misplaced
Mm-hmm.
could be, aliens, all of this different stuff, right? But then it's
Yeah.
part of me, I'm like, we're all focused on this. What's going over here? Like, what is something else going
Yeah.
on somewhere else that we're not paying attention to because everybody's focused on around here? Because a lot of the times that happens too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they want us focusing on this. But it's just like,
Mm.
so to me, like, it's all a shit show. It's all meant to divide and like do whatever. And but yeah, it is intriguing to think about sometimes, but a lot of the time I don't have a lot of it's just not my hyper focus, right? And so like I'd much rather dive deep into like the esoteric stuff and things like that. Now remind me what you said. The energy you put
Yeah.
out, something like that. You were talking about
What 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 do you dive deep into? What energy things do you like?
I don't know if there's labels for it. Like, and it just depends on the day too. Like whatever strikes my fancy, but like, oh, that's a big part of what I do too. Like because I believe that if you are walking in your passion and your purpose and doing what you are meant to do, that everything else falls into place. It doesn't mean it's always pleasant because you have to push the growth edges, right, to be able to move forward into that space.
Mm-hmm.
But when you move forward in that manner and you're following your passion and your purpose and you welcome all your bits to the pieces to the table inside, the other stuff falls in as byproduct, right? So money comes in as a byproduct. Like it's not that you're
Mm-hmm.
focused on the money. Like if you start focusing on the money, then you're going to start usually focusing on lack or like doing things for weird purposes. But like if you
Mm-hmm.
are, how can I put this much value? Like, and the value that I enjoy putting out, right? That kind of thing. And when you do that, then the universe, God, whatever, like brings more of that into your life, and then you continue to move, and it's pretty amazing. Like it took me
Mm-hmm.
a really long time. Like I've always had the really odd bits, like letting my kids do whatever, and like doing
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. Like we do have rules and whatever, but like I'm very relaxed and very flow state, right? But now I've completely lost my train of thought.
Well,
Neurospicy
how do
brain.
you like? I think this is probably one of the most important topics on school. Like, how do you do the thing that is good when you're not focusing on money, and the money just comes as a as like an outcome of you doing the right good thing? How does that become a sustainable business where that's the goal that school helps people with, because it doesn't inherently make money, and a lot of artists don't make money. A lot of people that do this good thing, their business making money isn't like that outcome that they
Right,
get.
because
And
they need to
so
partner with somebody that understands. It's like you, right? Somebody needs to partner with you to learn about ads, or they need to partner with somebody that understands the mechanics of business, but it doesn't have to be the smarmy bullshit business way. Like you can continue to
yeah.
sow seeds and you can, like the garden, like you and I can talk that way. You're planting seed, like
Mm-hmm.
before you plant the seeds, you cultivate, right? And whether you're doing layer gardening or you're doing tilling or however, you prep the ground and you plant the seeds, then you have to water and you have to weed and you have to mulch and you have to do all of this stuff before even the tiniest little sprout comes up, right? And then more weeding and more whatever as it grows, and it's still a while before you start getting harvest. And then even when you start getting harvest, it's a little while longer before you have an avalanche and your whole table's full of tomatoes, right? Like it's all going to
Mm.
come, but it's about how you sow the seeds. And rather than being impatient, okay, well, I need to make this money right now. Okay, then don't because if you're moving out of that and you're trying to make calls out of I need to make money right now, like your people are going to feel that, like the desperation and everything else. It's a very different focus than I'm going to continue to move in alignment or whatever. Like if I have to go get a job, like a regular job or whatever to pay the bills, and do that while you continue to sow the seeds on the side, right? And like Sam's
Mm-hmm.
talked about that too, because if you are coming from a place of desperation, it kills your creativity and like the innovation and the stuff that actually like is what most entrepreneurs have, right? Like I've got an idea, I wonder if this will work, I'd like to do this, and that's the creative flow, right? And when you're acting out of lack or desperation, it like squashes that. And your journey
Mm.
doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It can be rapid growth and fast, but like many people talk about, like people that have that kind of growth, they've been doing business stuff off and on for like years, right? Like me, I've built six-figure
Mm-hmm.
businesses before from scratch. Like didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but there's been like 20 years of like growing different
Mm-hmm.
things and trying different things and failures and whatever and learning. And now here I am again
Yeah.
starting something new because I enjoy what I do and I love building stuff for myself. Like that's one thing with the herbal company. I love working with people, but because of my entrepreneurial spirit, like if I have to go get a job, I'll go get one and I can be a good worker and whatever. But like it doesn't fuel my fire to like work in that kind of manner like it does,
Mm-hmm.
to build my own something and help other people.
Mm. That's really that's really the thing I think a lot, probably the most about, is I don't know how to balance that. I always feel like there's some kind of lacking efficiency whenever I'm doing what I really love doing, because of looking around at some point. And you're not supposed to look around, but It's hard not to look around.
So, but it's not that you're just looking around. You're looking around and comparing yourself to other people or where they are and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for me, the only way to not compare myself to other people is like to not look around. I like have to stop. Like I have no control. I don't think I have the ability. It's like an obsession. I think it has to do with the way I was raised. I was like I was like entertaining my family, and I was always like seeking attention, and I was always like performing and dancing and singing, and I want this like so when I look around, there's just like I don't know what it is. There's some part of me though that like very bad at not doing whatever the fuck I feel like I have to do it to fit in or something. I feel like I have to. Yeah, I end up like compromising something, and so I'm really guarded about my influences because of that. I'd love to be better at this. I think I'm getting better for sure, but like I don't know. I found best for me that I have to like limit the inputs going into my brain more than anything else, and
I mean,
just
that's
surround
important for
myself with the
everybody.
right
Like
stuff.
I talk to
Yeah.
people on school about that. Okay, like you're in 50 groups, great. But like, are you trying to piecemeal stuff from every group because everybody does things slightly different and you're trying to Frankenstein like everybody's advice? Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
my one big tip for newbies coming to school. Like, join a bunch of groups, have fun, figure out which one or two or three you really resonate with and like that you get with, like, you feel at home at, right? Not because they're a big name on school or they're a big name in marketing or business or whatever. Like, not because of that. What place feels like home and that you actually want to engage with and that you actually want to learn, and then focus, and it may be you learn from them and then you grow and you find another group. Like, you don't have to stay there, but like limit, like that's a thing for everybody, I think, because that's part of what causes the mind fuckery thing, is that you're getting all of these inputs. Oh, you need to do it this way. Oh, you should do it
Mm-hmm.
this way. Oh, you should do this. No, listen in here. Like, listen to what's in here and what the feeling is. Like, not that it's work and, oh, I don't want to do work. Don't, not that feeling, but like, is it a fuck yes? Like, is this, does this resonate with you and feels good? Like, it's going to be work, but feels right. Okay, we'll try that. If it doesn't work, okay, go find somebody else. But don't try to like cramp everybody's shit into your being and not like pay attention to what jives. And that's where you get a lot of that inauthentic, like, bro marketing kind of just, and
Mm-hmm.
then you wonder, or you strip all of your own personality out of
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then you wonder why, people aren't coming. Like, because you just sound like everybody else, right? Like, don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid to sound like you and to do your thing your way. Yes, okay, take a little bit here and there, but like, figure out your path, and then, after a while, pause, evaluate, refine, take more messy action, and go from there.
Mm. Sarah Hankins, everybody. I think we should leave it there. This has been so fun and
It's always fun hanging out with you,
um,
dude.
freaking the best. Thanks for hanging out. We'll have to keep this thread going. Come back and we'll do this again sometime. And I'll
That's
see
fun.
you every day in the ads lab, Sarah. I'll
And
see
on
you
school and wherever
on
else.
Skool. I'll see you on Skool games and Skool community. I'll see you on those threads by Calvin. Shout out to Calvin.
Gonna go waste some more time for yourself. You're supposed to
Yeah,
be hanging out with your fam, dude. I gotta go make cookies with my girls. We decided
dude,
today was cookie day.
enjoy. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Bye
Anytime, dude.
bye.